Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Wednesday edition of the Mark Moses Show, as we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today. This is key. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. Now, as you could tell, for some reason, I woke up 4 different times last night. Could not sleep. Don't know why. And it looks like I just got back from the jungle as well, where I need to shave. This guy is a more professional than I am, with the best hair in the business. He is 500-time winner. That's right. Over 700 wins. Coach Billy Mims. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. As you said when we were talking before the show started, it's got a little warm. It's back to being Florida today, isn't it?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. And let's start with this when it comes to basketball, because that's why I have Coach on. He has 700 wins of experience getting it done. Hey, the Orlando Magic, I watched that game last night. They took on Golden State, coming off the loss to Houston on Sunday night, which was another great game. But look, you got Steph Curry, you got Jimmy Butler, you got Draymond Green. They have 4 NBA championships. I mean, look, this is a legit basketball team with future Hall of Famers. The Magic beat them 4 straight quarters, getting it done. They go to 8-7. Anthony Black had 21. Your daughter used to interview Anthony Black there at Arkansas. Dude, are they clicking? Are they finally starting to figure it out here in the early season?
Well, you made a great point. You mentioned how many Golden State Warriors did you mention in your intro there? I think 3. Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green, right? Those 3 Warriors. Guess what? You say they're a legitimate playoff type team. Those are the only 3 Warriors who showed up last night. The Warriors had 3 players last night in double figures. Jimmy Butler had 33, Steph Curry 34, as always, and Draymond Green put in 12. By the way, let me turn my ringer off here.
Look, you're so busy.
Somebody's texting me here.
Texting you. Hey,
it's actually a text. You know where that text message comes from?
What?
We have to say it for the listeners here because it's weird, right? Of all the people you interview, I'm probably the only guy that gets these messages from Europe, right? It was a text message coming from Germany. And a good friend of mine who used to be a referee in the BBL when I coached professionally in England, Richard Stokes, he now lives in Germany, and he's now the supervisor of officials for the BBL, the Bundesliga, the German Basketball Bundesliga, which is the top league in Germany. So
so you were doing shout outs for Ireland 2 weeks ago. Okay, this is what you're doing. Now you're doing shout-outs for Germany.
Well, the reason we're doing the shout-out for Germany, it was ironic. He's texting me as I'm getting ready to talk about Franz Wagner, right?
Yeah.
Franz and Mo Wagner. So we were saying the Warriors only had 3 players show up last night in double digits. You mentioned Anthony Black dropping 21 points for Orlando last night off the bench. The Magic had 6 players in double figures. So I thought the Warriors right now are playing like a few great individuals, Hall of Fame guys, like you said, Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, potential, certainly arguable Hall of Famers, okay? Steph, sure thing. Draymond, possibility. Jimmy, strong possibility. But potential Hall of Fame players, NBA All-Star players. But that's kind of what they have right now. The rest of the team comes and goes. On the other hand, the Magic have some great players, but not the Hall of Famers just yet, not the NBA All-Star experience just yet of the Warriors or many other NBA teams. But the Magic are winning when they win. They're 8-7. They just got themselves back over 500. They're starting to win right now, but they're winning as a unit, as a team. Everybody has a value for them. Franz Wagner, 18 points last night. De Silva, 15. Wendell Carter Jr., 17. Desmond Bane, again, top scores, 23 points. And my guy, your guy, Jalen Suggs, a big 13 points, 8 assists for Jalen Suggs. when you think about it, everybody that's supposed to show up for the Magic did.
Great point. Here's the thing. Anthony Black, there's a couple points I want to make here. First off, Anthony Black, shooting, assists, steals, all his stats are up in year 3. That's what you want to see from Anthony Black. I told this to my buddy Tim the other day. I think what Anthony Black is, I think it's a confidence thing. He needs to go call up some old school guards, point guards, shooting guards. He needs some of that. I'm trying to think of the right word. He needs some swagger. He's got the 6'7" frame. He can play defense. He can block the ball. He can get to the rim. He can do this like Tony Parker floater shot. When he goes, like, he's a big guard. He just needs he needs to get that nasty streak that Jalen Suggs has. And I think if he can get to that next level, he could be that missing piece for the Magic. And look, 21 off the bench, you will take that. So you have him. Desmond Bane, I think he's starting to finally gel with this team, right, where he's understanding it. But here's something. Forget it. It's not the box score, and I want your thoughts on this. Jalen Suggs' toughness was missing last year when he was injured. When they made a playoff run 2 years ago, took Cleveland to Game 7, he was there on defense, getting in people's faces. For anyone who didn't see the game last night, Jimmy Butler's doing Jimmy Butler things in that fourth quarter where he's trying to push around the Magic. Like, you're like our little kid. You're not at the same level. Suggs went right in his face, and they start going like this. And I know you liked my tweet on here. I said, I'll take Jimmy Butler versus Jalen Suggs all day. Pay-per-view. You can't teach that type of toughness. He went right in his face. You're not doing this. You're not beating us tonight. We're beating you. And you know what? If they could just get Paolo back, and I know it's a marathon, I think things are going to start clicking for this team. How about you, Coach?
I like the points you brought up there, Mark. And remember, I'm a big Jalen Suggs fan too. I saw him play when he was a high schooler in Athens, Greece. I first bumped into him in Athens, Greece. My family and I were over there. I was doing a summer camp and speaking at a coaching clinic in Heraklion, Crete. But we had stopped in Athens for a couple of days before going on to Crete. And believe it or not, we just had chosen to go tour the Acropolis that day, the Parthenon. So we are walking into the Acropolis Museum, and my son, Josh, who you know very well, and he's a big-time basketball guru, basketball fan. He knows everybody, right? He recognizes more players than I do. And he looks across the entrance from us, getting ready to go into the Acropolis Museum, and there's Jalen Suggs sitting on a wall that's probably 5,000 years old, in the heart of Athens. And Josh punches me, says, Dad, that's Jalen Suggs. And then I remember, I said, yeah, but they're here for the World Championship, for the FIBA Youth World Championship. I think it was the under 18 or under 19 World Championship. And so then we went on to Heraklion, Crete, and we got to go to the games. So we were up close and personal, courtside, watching Jalen Suggs, watching Cunningham, some of the young guys who are now stars in the NBA. We were watching those guys play, representing Team USA in Heraklion, Crete. And the point I was going to make about all of that is that wherever Jalen Suggs has been, he's been a winner. You talk about toughness. Yeah. He's a Minneapolis, Minnesota kid. Downtown, Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's got some of that inner city dog in him, okay? He went to a school called Minnehaha. They were the best, probably the best high school program in the state of Minnesota, top 5 high school programs in the nation when he was a junior and senior there. Everybody was focused on Jalen Suggs. He had a great, great basketball team. Played in high school alongside another guy named Chet Holmgren. They knew how to win basketball games, okay? He came from a winning program. Then he went to college. Where did he go to college?
Zags.
Hey, and there with the Zags, he took them again to where? Final Four glory, right? Winning big games for Gonzaga. A lot of people might forget knocked off the UCLA Bruins in an incredible finish, right? Last second shot. And I can still remember seeing Jalen Suggs jump up on the scorer's table, pounding his chest to the crowd after winning that game. So everywhere he's been along this journey, high school greatness, national team for the United States of America, greatness, college greatness for Gonzaga. Everywhere Jalen Suggs has been, he has been successful. This kid's never lost in his life. So it's only a matter of time that he's going to get the players around him to come together, fall in behind him, and let him lead them to that greatness again. I believe the Magic are on the cusp of being a real contender. They're not quite there yet, but it's a process in the NBA. It's not all about one guy. Jalen Suggs is a big part of that process, but they're starting to get the cogs to the machine around Jalen. You know, obviously, you and I both think the world of Franz Wagner. You know, again, super young basketball player who's doing great things. I like Wendell Carter Jr. has actually started playing a lot better. Okay. Excuse me there for a second. Excuse me. You just went live on the air with us there. Okay?
No, you're okay.
And you know what? This is amazing because I did call and say we're going to go on live at 3:00. When you come in the house, please take that into consideration.
This is what I noticed with you. You're going on this long rant. So people from Germany are contacting you. People are showing up at the house. They just think what is this, Grand Central Station?
Oh, my goodness.
We're trying to break down basketball here.
And, you know, and look, I used to have some respect. Now, you know,
get to 800 wins. Then we'll talk. That's
back to you, Mark. Sorry for the interruption there.
No, you're okay. So here's one thing with Suggs. He brings these things to the table that they won't show up in the stat line, but you need him on your team. You need them. I know everyone's so obsessed with it. You know, it started as a hockey thing, the over-under. When you're on the ice, are you scoring or is your team giving up goals? So they moved that to basketball, the over-under, right? So with him, it's everything. This team, if they're going to make a deep playoff run, they need him healthy on the court. And that's the word, the health. He's never stayed healthy. And it's not his fault. It's just like you got to keep him. My thing is, it's a marathon this season, right? So my question for you is, you look at this team, because Paolo's injured now as well. We're, straining the groin.
I mean, like the great points you bring up there. 6 players in double figures last night. They beat the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry's playing. He's healthy. Draymond is there. Jimmy Butler is there. Come on. They beat a pretty healthy, strong, all the big stars for the Golden State Warriors turned out. And the Magic did it without arguably their number one player. Yeah. Paolo Banchero out in plain clothes, did not play. So again, Mark, you're right. What we saw from them last night is sort of the vision of the future. But again, remember, they got one more guy to add to the mix. It's kind of like last year when OKC played so much of the year without Chet Holmgren, right? He was out injured for 3/4 of the season. But boy, when he came back, they elevated to another level. He came right in as if he'd never missed a game, right back into the fold of their big three, so to speak. And all of a sudden, they were on course for an NBA championship, and no one was going to stop them. Can that be the Orlando Magic? The question always is, are all of your big guys going to be healthy enough of the season to get you in position in the playoffs to make a run? And will they all be healthy in the playoffs once they arrive? Those are the two keys.
If you go back to Anthony Black, remember, he was the 6th pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. He is a lottery. They picked him for a reason, not to just, we'll get you 10 minutes off the bench. No, you're supposed to be it's supposed to be you, Suggs, and now Desmond Bane. Right. Those are the 3 guys that have to step. Look, guard play has always been the issue for the Magic. Mm-hmm. Always. Who can hit the shot from the outside? Who can do this? And you talk about, like toughness. Look, our guy, Franz Wagner, broke the nose. So his brother Mo was on the telecast last night with David and Jeff, and they asked him, what happened about your brother? So he says, this is what I loved. Franz goes to the training facility, which you've been to, didn't know he broke it until they looked at it. Okay. Look, and he's wearing the mask like he's Rip Hamilton. Like he's doing it, dude. Franz is fantastic, and I'm happy they had Mo on the broadcast last night. That's another guy. You need him. He's like an enforcer in hockey.
Exactly.
I know I keep making hockey references. But like seriously, you need Mo. You need him when this team, if the stars can align with you don't need to make a move at the trade deadline in February. They have everything. They're just waiting on it, coach.
Hey, and you make a great point there. I mean, Mo, Franz's brother, I mean, like you said, he's an enforcer. Yeah. He's a guy that around the bucket is not afraid of anybody. Defensively, he's a defensive presence in the paint for them. They're lacking that right now. So he brings and comes off the bench for them and brings them size, energy, physicality, all off the bench. Again, increasing the depth that Coach Mosley has to go to work with, okay? And it's again, coaches get a rap sometimes when people just look at their record. Yeah. But if you don't delve into the games, who did they lose to? When did they lose? Who was missing? Was everybody healthy? Did everybody play? Those equate. Look at the Indiana Pacers right now. I think they're 1-12. 1-12. But they win the NBA Finals a year ago with virtually the same team. Why are they 1-12 right now? Tyrese Halliburton hadn't played a single game yet. Okay? When you lose a critical player, Paolo Banchero, to most people would have thought last night, oh, Paolo's out. We got no chance of beating Golden State. Yeah. And the Magic showed something deep with, like you said, it's not just about the stats, the points, the assists, the rebounds, the free throws, the steals. It's not just about that. Sure, you got to have stat fillers, guys, players that fill the stat sheet every night. But you also have to have those guys that have it deep down in their heart, that just don't want to lose. That RTL, you know what that stands for?
What?
Refuse to lose.
You're
the
right.
RTL mentality. It's got to be inside you. You got to refuse to lose. You got to have some of those players. Today, they like to call them dogs. I like to call them RTLs, guys who refuse to lose.
I think of my dad growing up. So we'd be at Bears games, and he'd always tell me this. Anyone can go out there and lose, Mark. He always would say, Mark, you and me could go out there and lose. I was like, yeah, we would. I always think about, it's funny you bring that up because I think about, hey, losing is contagious. And I've been to a lot of Magic games over the years where they won 20 games, 25 games. The players afterwards, and look, it's not their fault. We lost, but hey, I'm getting paid, whatever. That's a 9-to-5 job to me, whatever. To get it to the next level is not easy. And again, you look at that Warriors team, we're used to winning, and they'll make the playoffs. We're great. No. And you know what that reminds me of? And I want your thoughts on this. That Warriors team, it's like if my 90s Bulls stayed together, like if Jerry Krause and Reinsdorf didn't blow them up, is that what would have happened to Jordan and Pippen? Where they just sort of like, we're a 6-7 seed in the East and we're never going to win the title again. Isn't that what's happened to the Warriors now? Where they'll probably never win again an NBA title? Sort of looks
and they're also getting aged now,
Yeah.
They're getting up in age. They're getting older. They're getting closer to being senior basketball citizens. And then you look last night, LeBron James, or this week, starts his first game. He's been out all season. He finally comes back, and it's a record-setting game for him. Once again, everything he does is 23rd season, right? Isn't it amazing? He wears number 23. He's in his 23rd season. Jordan wore number 23. There's so much things right now that are falling in place around that number 23 that is just sort of, is that a number for true greatness? 23, is that the mark everybody has? But I want to bring up one quick point before we change the subject from the Magic. Yeah. Anthony Black, right? You talk about. I've liked Anthony Black since day one. My only criticism against Anthony Black was he came out of Arkansas because he was young, remember? He came out of Arkansas still a teenager, okay, into the NBA. he had a boy's body in a man's league. Okay. Height, yes. Length, yes. Physicality, strength, muscular, no. He was thin. He was weak for an NBA player. From last year to this year, he's done a lot of work in the offseason. You can see that the Magic strength and conditioning coaches, a year of being shoved around in the NBA last year, has certainly helped him grow. And I mean grow physically even more so than mentally. And I think as he continues to do that, I mean, I was looking at pictures the other day. Giannis Antetokounmpo was the Greek freak when he got to the NBA, but he still looked like a child. Now he's a man-child, and his body has become, because you get so much instruction, so much tutelage, so much guidance when you're in the NBA. When you're a professional sportsman, whether it's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever it is, now you got multiple strength coaches with you all the time, developing your physical body. It's where people used to say that high school kids went to college and a boy became a man. No, I think high school kids go to college, young boys become older boys, okay? But I tell you what, when you go from college to the pros, you become a man. And that's what's happening to, you're watching it to a lot of these guys that are as they left college, they were talented players. But to get to be that, to make that talent work in the NBA, they got to have the body to go with the talent. An NBA body, okay? That's built constantly day in, day out with great coaching, great structure, great guidance in the weight room, and also nutrition. Some of these guys never had the nutrition that they're on now. You've been over to the training facility as well. They have their own chef there. They have their own eating. Some of these guys, the NBA guys, people say, why do you never see them at Publix? Because they never go shop for groceries. If you went to their apartment and opened up their refrigerator, there'd be nothing in there except maybe some power bars that they got from the team, some Gatorade they got from the team, and maybe a jug of water that they got from their sink. There's no food in there because they eat 3, 4, 5 times a day at their training facility with a chef preparing whatever they want, but also with the nutritional guidance of a professional. So that's what you see happening. And I think Anthony Black is another good example. His confidence is soaring. It's gotten better and better. Last night, he played 33 minutes, Mark. 33 minutes off the bench. He's getting closer and closer to maybe becoming a starter.
I still want a nasty streak. And look, I say that in a positive way. I want him to get nastier on the court. I'm not saying run around, start throwing haymakers like you're Draymond Green. You have to get to a point in your head where you grab the bull by the horns and you go, I am attacking the rim and I'm setting up my teammates. That's what once they get to that level, they can get to the next level as a team. So I'm excited. Now, I saw the game Sunday night. It was funny. It was weird where you had NFL Sunday, football all day. Then randomly, Fox 35 in Orlando, it was one of the games. So like, yeah, we're going to put it on regular TV. And I'm like, this is great. Put every game on free regular TV. Please get the biggest audience you can. And this is not just the Magic. It's all of sports. Stop with, all right, get this app. Now, we're not sure if the app's going to work, but if you put in this QR code, maybe if we don't have a dispute with Disney, then no. Get the rabbit ears out. Get it in front of the most people possible. Like, I bet more people saw that Magic game Sunday night than they've had in months. I'm sorry I have to go there. But so they're playing at Houston against the Rockets, who have Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant's acting for some reason. The game goes overtime. He's thinking it's like game 7 of the NBA Finals. I don't know why. He's completely locked in. That Rockets team, if they get a couple weeks together to gel, that's a dangerous team in the Western Conference.
Well,
and I want okay.
Look where they were last year. Second winningest team in the Western Conference.
I know. And then they couldn't do it in the playoffs. I want your thoughts because you love the international players. Okay. Durant, Smith, they got a couple guys on that team, but that Sengun guy down low, that guy.
Alperen.
Alperen
Sengun.
He plays like an NBA All-Star. He is, like the word I said is like nasty. He gets rebounds. He can score. He wants the ball. I think he's an All-Star. What
Well,
are
you
your
know what? Well, you know when you texted me, you're watching the Rockets Magic game. You said this game is insane, and then you text me. The next text came back, "Hey, this Şengün guy's pretty good."
Yeah.
And I was like, I had to laugh right there. I was like, Mark, where you been for like the last 3 years? This guy's he's known. The fans in Houston, he's Baby Joker, Baby Jokic, because he plays a lot like Nikola Jokic. His game is very similar to Jokic. He might be a tad bit more athletic than Jokic, but that's debatable. But he is a big boy, a big body, right? He can dunk on people. He plays smart basketball. He may be the best passer on the Houston Rockets team, kind of like Jokic is the best passer on the Denver Nuggets. He's very, very similar in his body shape and his style of play to Nikola Jokic, hence Baby Jokic, Baby Joker.
So late in the game, right? It went to overtime. The Magic were right there without Paolo. So the Magic bigs had a problem. Şengün and then Aquaman, Steven Adams shows up. They're getting every rebound, and then you have Kevin Durant on the wing. This team's going to be a problem once they figure it out. They are a good team.
Right.
Here's what's interesting. So there's like 5 seconds ago. The Rockets have the ball. They try to inbounds it. Anthony Black steals the ball. He runs down the court, dunks it with 1 second to go, gets fouled. All he has to do is hit the free throw. He misses it. Rockets get the ball. Half a second to go. Who do they go on the final possession to try to tie it? Is it Kevin Durant? No. Şengün gets it. And he gets a good look because you don't want to foul him on the play. And we go to overtime. Now, again, I know you talk about the Joker and Wemby and Luka. Wait, when they go to this stupid all-star game with the 3 teams, I think he's going to be on the team for the international players.
You know what I said? I made this joke to you. When the stupid 3 teams, why is it just 2 teams, 1 game? I don't know. What are they trying to do? Stack the Americans against the foreigners here? We got 2 American teams. I think part of it says, oh, well, we're going to have so many more Americans chosen than foreigners. I don't know anymore. You might get I said, what happens if, and then I saw the rules of it. If either team is short of the necessary players, then the league coaches or league are going to choose a few more to fill that team, right? But I was like, well, you might be choosing guys to fill 2 American teams because in all honesty, you might end up getting more than what you expect of Europeans. And look what I said. Look at who your starting 5 could potentially be. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Alperen Şengün. You start thinking about the quality of play of
Wemby. What?
Wembanyama. I mean, and when you look even at the guards, Lauri Markkanen, who's having a great season right now. But there you can just, as you look up and down right now, I think 5 of the top 6 scorers in the NBA are foreign players. So as you start looking at, and the assists and stats are right now currently led by foreign players.
All right. All right. The Americans, Jason Tatum's out for the year, right? Indiana's point guard, you talked about a second ago, out for the year. So who do the Americans have? Steph Curry, 49-year-old LeBron James, Paolo. Who else we got? No, seriously.
You got to go to some young guys. You got to go to Anthony Edwards,
Maxey on Philadelphia. I put him out there.
Yeah.
How are we gonna compete with these like Godzilla people who are 7'8"? How are we gonna do this? How are we
they'll, even though Joel Embiid is kind of a pseudo American, because he was Virgin Islands, right? He's not traditional American, pseudo American. But he'll be a guy that if he's healthy and his quality, he could be playing for one of those 2 U.S. teams.
They're not winning. They're not winning.
Ultimately, I'm telling you, if the best foreign players in the league are healthy that day, unless we put some of these old veterans out there. And I saw the other day that Steph Curry, LeBron has already said 2028 he's not playing for the national team. Steph Curry said probably he's not going to play again. He's out. So the Steph and LeBron, the big name guys that have been carrying Team USA for a while, it's now a changing of the guard. It is going to the younger players. So it will be interesting to see going forward, again, how the younger American top talent fares against the top European talent. And it's already been a changing of the guard in Europe. You know, the Pau Gasols, who used to see on the Spanish national team playing for the World Championship or the Olympic Championship, you know, top 3 teams in the world, Spain. Not now, they're not. Other teams have surpassed them. And Spain's gone to a younger team now. So there's been a changing of the guard worldwide in the big names. A lot of young talent out there.
Franz Wagner would come off the bench and he could drop 25.
There's another guy. We didn't mention Franz.
Franz is right there.
Yes, of course he is.
This is not good. This is not good.
I just go back to, again, what is the purpose in having a 3-team little shootout? You know, it should just be USA versus the world as an all-star game, prepping for the real game.
Why not just have East versus West? And then how about you guys actually try? How about that? Is that where? All right. Is it USA or is it Team North America? So I'm confused on. Like, where do the Canadian players go?
No, they're world. No, it's USA versus the world. That's it. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander will be your point guard for the world.
Yeah, you could just have Josh Giddey show up as the backup point guard.
And he probably will. He'll be a backup one. So, I mean, again, look at that starting lineup. SGA, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Joker.
Şengün, Joker. Come on. I mean,
look, I told you this in text. I'm going to say this to you right now. All right. If I was the president of the United States of America, and hopefully this does happen in about 30 years when I'm old enough to walk, I'm in my 70s. I'm going to tell every kid in America, all right, put down your parents' iPad for 5 minutes and pick up a basketball. This is our sport. We got to get some talent out there again. We can't let every country in the world beat us at our own sports. Okay?
You know what? You know what? I've heard that argument before, and you know who I heard it from?
Who?
England.
Yeah.
Because they invented football, soccer, and what, they've won one World Cup in 1966, I think it was.
Yeah, they can't win at it. They can't.
Because the rest of the world cottoned on. Well, guess what? Basketball is now at that point. That's what I've said. Hey, look, NBA Europe is starting in 2 years.
Yeah.
NBA Europe. 12 cities chosen permanently. 4 other cities will rotate in and out. 16 teams, NBA Europe. They're even talking, did you hear this?
What?
They're talking of having a tournament, like now they have the NBA Cup, you know, this midseason tournament in the NBA, but it's just NBA teams. They're talking about going to an NBA World Cup in season where you take a break and the top teams in the NBA in North America take on the top teams in NBA Europe, or, you know, 1 or 2 NBA Europe teams joins the tournament, the NBA Cup, with the teams in North America. So when you start seeing that happen, again, the NBA has already recognized that basketball is no longer just an American game. It is a world game, worldwide popularity and worldwide talent. Look at this. Our good friend, you and I both, Jeremy Schulman.
Oh, my.
Okay. We talked about him beating UNLV at UNLV, beat a good coach in Josh Pastner. And you can't tell me in the current day of NIL that UNLV doesn't have money. They got 42 casinos a block from the arena. There's all the money on the planet for NIL deals on the Strip in Vegas. And UT Martin from tiny little Martin, Tennessee, went out there and beat them. Then they turned around and went to Bradley in Illinois.
Peoria. I know where this is. I know Peoria.
And they beat Bradley in Peoria, right? And then last night, they took the ropes to Florida State, an ACC team, Florida State in Tallahassee. And every time you look at them, people say, how are they doing this? Jeremy figured it out. His entire starting five is European. He does not have an American player. And you know what? He went over there and got great European players because every great American in this country, every team in the country is all over that guy, all the big name schools. Jeremy can go over there to Bosnia, to Serbia, to anywhere in Eastern Europe and look at the best player and say, Division I, University of Tennessee in America, and they get confused. They might have thought he meant Knoxville instead of saying Martin, but it's okay, you know? And all of a sudden, he gets that player coming because nobody else was recruiting that kid. So he's taken 5 European players and he's competing with the best schools in the NCAA Division I. So again, college has proven it. The NBA has proven it. Basketball now is a worldwide sport.
I just so you know, I appreciate you bringing that up because this morning I was reading the box score of the game last night for Jeremy with UT Martin, and I felt bad. Can you imagine being a PA announcer, the public address announcer for UT Martin? Dude, the starting 5, each guy's got like 17 syllables in their name. Oh, that's not easy. That is not easy at all.
No, all the colleges, the sports information directors, athletic communications office, what they call themselves now.
Yeah.
They put out these media guys before these big games, and they have the roster, right? And then they have the pronunciation chart. Most teams in my history as a college coach in America, there'd be a pronunciation chart, and it'd be 2 kids on the chart. Now, Jeremy's whole team is on the pronunciation chart.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, they were right there with Florida State. So they go to 2-1. I know it's early for the season. Yeah, we need to look down. We need to look up like all the rosters for Team USA. We need to see. We need to call up who's the coach now? Is it Spoelstra? Who's
Eric Spoelstra? Eric Spoelstra.
Because it's not Coach K. Look, and by the way, in the last week, let me tell you something. That Spoelstra guy, his house burned to the ground. And he still went to work to coach his team. All right. So I don't want to hear from other coaches. Oh, I got a boo-boo. I'm not fit. No. The house burned to the ground and he kept coaching.
Hey, and what did I send you earlier today? I texted you a clip of Michael Jordan, right? Talking about load management.
Oh, I know.
What was Michael's response? Man, I don't care. I go to work. It's my job. You know, you play basketball 2.5, 3 hours a day. That's my job. That's a great job. Most of the world would love to have that job, right? And I thought he made a great point. The guy that was interviewing him, I know, and I can't remember.
It was Mike Tirico.
Mike Tirico, thank you. It was Mike Tirico. Yeah. Mike made a great point. He said Mike to Mike. Mike Tirico to Michael Jordan, his airness. Mike Tirico said, Mike, you had many, many seasons that you played 80 games, and some you played 82 games, didn't miss a single game. I mean, come on. The days of the Michael Jordans, the Charles Barkleys, and the Lou Gehrigs, the Iron Man himself, right? Who played 2,130 straight games. And you know why Lou Gehrig used to always say why he showed up to work every day?
Why?
Because that's how he got the job. He was a backup on the bench for the Yankees. The first baseman he backed up got sick and didn't show up one day. They put Lou in his spot. 2,130 games later, Lou was still in that spot. He said, I show up every day because I don't want somebody taking my job because I took a day off like I took the guy's job in front of me.
I also loved when Jordan said, it's so poetic, where he said, I wish there was a magic pill where I could get all my powers back. Like, just like you think, like, you lost your fastball. That's what that is. You know, if you're a pitcher and you could throw it 100 miles an hour, one day your arm's going to go and you won't be able to throw it 100 miles an hour anymore. And it must drive you crazy. And he had this superpower where he can kick everyone's ass. And he's the best player in the game. Now he's an old man.
And it happens to greatness in every sport, right? I mean, I was watching a lot of tennis this year, right? And you've got Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. They're the 2 best guys in the world, the 2 best tennis players in the world. And you can take some of the top tennis players over the last decade, 2 decades maybe, and the older they get, right, they just can't compete. Now, they can't win. They're still great. They can win the games they're supposed to win, but they can't win against young greatness, right? You see it in tennis. You see it in hockey. You see it in the NFL. Why do guys retire? Because they can't run a 9.8, 100-yard dash anymore, okay? Why do guys in Major League Baseball retire? They can't hit the fastball anymore, okay? Or they can't throw it as fast anymore. They can't get to first base as fast anymore. They can't catch that fly ball. In basketball, I mean, the absolute freak, you look at LeBron James, and again, he's faced a lot of injuries in his later years, but still, look at the ability of him at his age in his 23rd season in the NBA to still go out there in an NBA body, NBA shape, and get up and down the floor. So less and less are you going to see the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Wilt Chamberlains, the Lou Gehrig's that made a career out of the game, that played. I mean, Lou Alcindor played 20 plus years in the NBA.
Dude,
okay?
The teammates that it's just mind boggling. Stockton and Malone on Utah for like 20 years in a row, just like, and never miss games. Just that the Stockton Malone pass, just every single night. They just kept showing it. You know, it's like Troy Aikman said once. I want to tell you this. So he said that the tragic irony of all this is once you figure it all out, then your body can't do it anymore. Once you figure out every trick of the trade mentally, your body gives out. Then you're done. That's the worst.
Yeah.
You know what to do. You can't do it. So, and that's when you get into coaching, right?
When you can no longer get out on the floor or the grass and compete, become a coach.
Yeah. We'll end with this, and I appreciate coming on. We're here with Coach Mims. I know it's a marathon for basketball. I'm in football mode, but I'm trying to watch as much basketball as I can. Just like randomly just watching all these games. And I text you this. I'll say it to you right now. We got to go see the Joker play. You send me Joker updates every single day. We need to go to the game in Orlando, whenever it is, and then we need to go to the post-game news conference with the Joker so you could stand right by him.
I'm in. I'm all in.
Dude,
I'm all in.
When you see him in person, he looks like every guy at the YMCA at the over 40 league. You know what I mean? Where you're like, who's this guy? Right? But then he's 7'1" and he does everything. And you talk about injuries or staying, knock on wood, he stays healthy. Yeah. He doesn't have this like Olympian body either. And he just stays out there and he plays.
I mean, unfortunately, you and I have been talking for weeks now about how great Victor Wembanyama is, Wemby. And look again, he's out now for weeks. He's out injured and he's out for weeks. My fear with him, he's one of the greatest talents to ever come along. Again, he's 7'5" and handling the ball like a point guard. The problem, I think, with him, the way his body is built, his height, his lean stature, he's thin, he's long. It does lead itself to being prone to injury in a physical environment in the way the 82-game season of the NBA. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it's not going to be a yearly problem for him. But again, I just look at it and see guys like him, guys like Chet Holmgren. I see guys like Kristaps Porzingis. Long, tall, thin players tend to face a lot of injuries.
Should he just play in the post then? If you're Wembanyama, like don't be running around dribbling, shooting threes. Like should he just go? Should he just be like old school Wilt Chamberlain type?
Well, I don't know, because then you get shoved around in there by smaller, bigger guys. I mean, at least on the perimeter, he's got more room to operate. May get hurt less on the perimeter than he would between the blocks. But I mean, again, it's going to be about nutrition, strength, conditioning, how his strength coaches do for him. All of those things will be a factor. And hopefully it's not something that genetically he is predisposed to injury. So let's hope and pray that he'll be back this season soon and he'll go the rest of the season healthy. You know, you asked me about the Magic being a contender. And I'll tell you, and I've said this many, many times, might have said it to you before. I think it takes three things to win championships. Three things to win championships. And when I break these three down quickly to you to wrap up, you'll see why I think that the Indiana Pacers came up just short last year. Because number one, I believe it takes talent. You can't win a championship at a high level without talent, okay? So you look back last year, did the Pacers have talent? Yes, they did. OKC, did they have talent? Yes, they did. A lot of talent. One of the reasons OKC got better down the stretch, they got one guy back. Chet Holmgren had been out. He comes back. They became a better team. One of the reasons the Pacers couldn't finish their tremendous postseason run was they lost their best player to an injury right before it all went down. So if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't go out with an injury there, they have more talent in the game he gets hurt in and ultimately lose. And the game following that, they have to play without it. So again, number one, you have to have talent. You don't get to that. The Orlando Magic, do they have talent? Yes. It's young talent, but it's talent. We showed last night 6 players in double figures, and Paolo Banchero, arguably their best player, their most talented overall individual, not there. So they may have 7 really talented players right now. That's the kind of depth and talent you need to make a run in the playoffs, okay? So do they have talent? Yes.
Yeah.
Second, you got to be lucky. Do you remember when the Toronto Raptors and a buddy of mine, Nick Nurse, won the NBA championship? Do you remember one incredible shot by a guy named Kawhi Leonard on the baseline, in the corner, in front of a bench, falling out of bounds? You remember that? He makes that shot, and that carries them on to the next round, right? If he doesn't make the shot, the dream is over. Now, you can have him take that same shot 10 times. I don't believe he hit with the same coverage and the same location. I don't believe, as great as Kawhi Leonard is, with that much pressure on him, the crowd, the atmosphere, the place he is on the floor, the defensive pressure in his face, he's off balance. He doesn't make that same shot 2 out of 10 times. I'll give you this. You can let him take that same shot with no one on him, and it's tough to make it 5 out of 10 times. Okay?
And speaking of luck, and before we get to the third point, Durant got injured in the finals when they took the Warriors on.
Absolutely. I was going to go there too.
Yeah.
So they have a lucky shot that keeps them alive, that keeps them going, and that they advance. And then when they get to the finals, they have the luck of they're playing a team that is not at full strength, and they win a championship. So they had talent, and they were lucky. Okay? Talent, a little bit of luck. Why do you need a little bit of luck? 82 games is a long season.
Yeah.
Right?
And what's number 3, buddy?
Number 3, you got to be healthy.
Yeah,
if you're not healthy, you go back and look at all the big championships. Very few championships have ever been won with backup players having to play a star role. You can look at a few. You can say, oh, wow, what about the quarterback for Ohio State? They lost their Heisman Trophy candidate. The backup came. They won it all. Every now and then, you'll get that anomaly, okay? But the championships year in and year out are won by teams that have talent, that have a little bit of luck throughout the season to win some big games when they have to, and they stay healthy. And in that third part, the health part, it's most important to be healthy in the stretch run. If you lose your best players in that stretch run, really, really difficult for someone to step up and succeed in a spot they've been backing up all year.
It's a great point, especially in basketball, where it's a 7-game series. Like, it's not like March Madness where it's 1 game. You can beat someone. That's possible. But 7 games, you know.
I'll say this, the comparison, you're right. You could get that 1 victory. You'd beat a team 1 time. But to be a champion in March Madness, you got to win 6 straight games, all on a neutral court. Now, in the NBA, a 7-game series, 3 or 4 of them are going to be on your home floor in front of your home fans. You're sleeping in your own bed, okay? But in college basketball, in March Madness, in the tournament that crowns a champion, nobody plays on their home floor, not one time. So it's a neutral court tournament, which does make it a little different as well and still challenging. And I say it's a 6-game series. You're not playing the same team for 6 games, but you got to win. You got to go 6-0 to win that championship. You can have a bad night or 2 in the NBA, and still 4 wins to 3 losses. You can go 4-3 in those 7 games and be crowned a champion. You can't go 3-3 in March Madness and be a champion. You got to win every game, back against the wall. So again, talent, luck, health. If the Magic can stay healthy, all those guys, Banchero comes back, and the 7 or 8 best players they have stay healthy, they'll keep getting better. They'll find a little luck along the way. And I wouldn't bet against a young team, because the Oklahoma City Thunder showed us that last year. It didn't need so many veterans to win that title. They needed young, healthy talent, and they did.
And they did. I think of 2004 finals, Lakers-Pistons, where Lakers were a ticking time bomb anyway, where Shaq and Kobe were fighting with each other. Remember, they broke up that summer where they traded Shaq. And then I'm just trying to think. Remember, they had, this is crazy to say, they had Karl Malone and Gary Payton past their primes, and Malone got injured anyway. And that's the craziest champion of them all, because it's not like they had superstars on the team, but they played like a team, and they were a buzzsaw, and they destroyed the Lakers. And that was the end of Kobe and Shaq, not the end of Billy and Mark. No, that will continue. Coach, thank you so much for your help. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. All right?
See you next week, Mark.